Well, Fiona, first of all, many congratulations. How did you become the first woman president of the Border League?
Basically, I joined the Border League as the bout representative along with Chris Budinsky over 10 years ago when Chris was just about to become president. And he and I were there together for many, many years. But due to grandchildren commitments, Chris stepped down. Because I was by far the longest standing one on, it just seemed to be natural that it would be me who took over when it came to Berwick's turn.
And you must be very honoured to become the first woman president.
A little bit shell-shocked, actually. I didn't quite see it happening because for several years I was trying to persuade somebody else from Berwick to come on, thinking, is the Border League ready for a woman president? And am I ready to be the first one? But no, I am. I'm very honoured. Yep. As I say, still a wee bit shell-shocked. But the rest of the Border League committee have been so supportive, particularly the current president from Selkirk and the Kelso guys who are actually going to host the meetings for us because traditionally Peebles, Langham and Berwick don't host them at their own clubs because of the travelling involved for others.
Now, a little bit of history for you. Obviously, you're the mother of Andrew Skeen, who we all know, a Borders rugby legend, holds the medals, every single medal, I think, from the Kings of the Sevens. Not many people have that's for sure. But did your interest come in rugby via Andrew or before then?
Actually, before then, Stuart, my father was a very keen rugby person and had played to quite a high standard himself while doing medicine at Edinburgh University. And because he had only two daughters, I went with him to rugby internationals from quite a young age. In fact, I was actually at the Grand Slam in 1984, only 10 days before Andrew was born.
And of course, Andrew is thinking about going into refereeing, isn't he, in quite a big way?
Yeah, he has signed up. He's done a couple of junior ones.
Right, so we're going to be seeing him on the circuit. And it's great to see someone with his experience not being lost to the game. I think that's really important, isn't it?
Very much so. I mean, when he retired, he took 2 or 3 years, just needed to get away, I think, but was still wandering down to see Berwick most weeks. But with 2 little girls, I was a little bit worried that he might be a bit lost to the game. But no, he's decided he would like to referee. So I'm actually delighted about that.
Let's turn it back to you now, because I've attended a few Border League meetings in the past, I have to say. They can be quite intimidating affairs, can't they? Yeah,
they can, but I think the main problem there is, Stuart, you've got 10 clubs with 10 different priorities, agendas, call it what you will. And it is very, very difficult to get agreements that suit all 10. And all representatives who are there are obviously sticking up for their own clubs and their own clubs' views. And I know it is often very difficult to get a consensus, but that's because all 10 clubs have very different, obviously, priorities.
That's right. And it can be very frustrating, I suppose, when you've got one person who's chairing the meeting, for instance, who's trying to get everyone together. And I think talking to all the clubs in the Border League that I do regularly, I mean, they all want everything to be in harmony. It doesn't always work like that. Life isn't like that.
I mean, I think all the clubs desperately want to try and keep the Border League going. It's just proving almost impossible to get something that suits all the clubs. Berwick, in all honesty, we are not in a position to play in the Border League because our boys, they're not strong enough. When we were playing in it, they got dispirited because they were being hammered, 70, 80 points by Melrose Hoy. And obviously, Langham don't play either. But I think all the reps would desperately like to see the Border League continue in some way and be successful. But trying to get something that suits all clubs is just proving very difficult. And it's the fixture congestion. I mean, this year there's been COVID, previous years there's been weather. There's a debate, 12-team leagues will make it more difficult because of the number of fixtures. But then some clubs want 12-team leagues because, well, even Berwick themselves, if they bring in 10-team leagues across the top level, there's going to be 6 or 8 teams going down out of National 3. Well, 6 out of National 2, I think, and 8 out of National 3. So a lot of clubs are thinking, well, we don't want to drop out.
It is tricky, isn't it? Because, I mean, I know I wrote an article recently in the Jed Forest Sevens programme about, you know, how I would see a season, and I would personally like 10-team leagues. But as you say, that will suit a lot of people, but it's not going to suit everybody. And that's what, of course, these Border League meetings are all about. It's finding a compromise if possible, but sometimes some people are going to be upset.
Absolutely, and I think you've also got the issue that because the clubs are all in different leagues, that obviously those leagues and their forums may decide differently from the general consensus in the Border League. So that's not going to help the situation, you know, because obviously some clubs feel a loyalty towards their actual forum for their actual league as well.
And of course, the other factor is the Kings of the Sevens and Sevens tournaments in general, because we've seen again this year with Gala and other clubs who are still playing 15s rugby well into the Sevens season. And if we can get the season finished before that, then obviously that would be fantastic. But I don't think I can even remember the last time where every single Borders club had finished their 15 season before the 7 season started.
I'd agree with you that entirely. I mean, Berwick this year, we had 11 games called off.
All at Scremerston as well, weren't they? I mean, people just weren't prepared to travel.
I think some of them did use the COVID card, and they were calling off the night before. We called off one early season because we did have a boy who'd had a test and the result wasn't back, and the SRU told us we had to call it off. Yeah, we were playing right till the end of April as a result.
In terms of the Border League and the Kings of the Sevens, because these are the two big hot topics which are always debated in forums everywhere. Everyone thinks they've got the right answer, but they don't always consider, you know, what it's like from another perspective. Is there a solution for the Kings of the Sevens and the Border League? And what would you feel would be the best way of looking at it?
I honestly don't know, Stuart. That's a question I don't think I could answer. I mean, this question has been wrangled over in the Border League for as long as I've been there, and I honestly don't think I personally could say now what the solution would be, because better people than me have been trying to sort it out for a lot of years. I think it's just a case of we're going to, first of all, to find out what happens at the SRU AGM, whether they go with 10 or 12 teams. Then we'll get a better idea. But I honestly, personally, would not like to say that I have the answer, because previous presidents for nearly 10 years have been trying to find the answer and without success.
It's a thankless task, I have to say. So you must be looking forward to it in a way, obviously, because there's history in the making here, being the first female president of the Border League. But at the same time as well, knowing what you know, having years and years of experience at Border League meetings, it's going to be tough. Yeah,
it is. There's no doubt about that, but we'll just have to see. As I say, you know, several people before me who had as much experience as me have, battled on with it, and I suppose I'll just have to follow suit and see what happens. Yep.
What about the south of Scotland as well? Because that's another topic which always gets mentioned. Everybody's proud of the history of the south of Scotland, as we already know. Since 2000, we've played 4 matches. We've won them all, which is great. We've played Caledonia twice. We've played Northumberland and the Barbarians, which was a famous win, of course. And there's always this thought process from a lot of people that they would like to see the south of Scotland back again. Now, we all know that in the current climate with Super 6, it's a non-starter at that level. But certainly from club players' point of view, club players who aren't really buying into the Super 6 themselves, but they would like to, represent their area, if you like, as a pinnacle for their own career. Do you think that's something which is going to happen? Because I know John Rutherford and people like that have said it would be nice to have even one fixture a year. Maybe Januaries and Februaries would be a good time to slot in a district competition, but at the level of, say, Premiership National 1.
I would like to. I mean, I love South of Scotland stuff. And they have tried in the last few years to arrange fixtures, and John Thorburn has worked tirelessly to do so. But most of the problem has been trying to find a date that suits clubs, because quite often coaches are not prepared to release players if they've got crucial matches coming up, which you can understand. Also, obviously, whoever you find as opposition, you've got to find a date that suits them. And John has tried very hard and come quite close on more than one occasion. But for various reasons, it's fallen down at the last hurdle. And I think that's one of the reasons we chose in the Border League to support the South Sevens team, because we felt at least there was some representation there. You know, they found quite a bit of sponsorship themselves, but we were prepared to underwrite their travelling costs and things. And in fact, I did go up to the first year, one at Edinburgh and one at Glasgow. Andrew happened to be playing in both. And to see all the boys that he'd been playing against, Jed, Hoyt, Selkirk, Melrose guys, all coming together, the camaraderie was fantastic. And they really did have that feel of a South squad. And I thoroughly enjoyed that, and so did they. So I think that's part of the reason the Border League felt that at least if we could keep a South 7 team going, it's a start.
And I think it is so important. And of course, I've had first-hand experience of travelling with the South team and filming them and all the rest of it. And it is fantastic because you see, you know, stars of Selkirk, stars of Gala, stars of Melrose, all getting together, the Jed boys as well. And also, you know, involving the Peebles, the Kelsos. And of course, they all know each other from playing rugby at school, and they've all been brought up with this rivalry. You know, if you talk about the strength of the Borders as a unit, that is a great example, the South of Scotland. And seeing the players and how much it means to wear that red and white jersey, just to give people the opportunity to be at the top of their club game, if you like, but playing with the best of other players from different clubs. The camaraderie there is just there for all to see, and it's a wonderful flag-waving thing for the South of Scotland.
Absolutely, and as you say, I think the most important thing is boys playing together from different clubs and keeping that contact with each other.
As you say, the Sevens getting probably 3 tournaments a year, starting, of course, next week at the Percy Park tournament. And we've got boys from, obviously, it's been selected on merit, so you've got a lot of Melrose, Selkirk and Jed boys in the squad. But it's just nice to be able to see the red and white jerseys being dusted off, and a lot of success as well, because the South of Scotland Sevens have been very successful.
Oh, very much so. And I know Neil Hinnigan and Fraser Hartnett have put an awful lot of work into it. Great enthusiasm. I mean, I've known Herky for as long as I can remember from seeing Andrew play against him. And his commitment is undying. Well,
look, we've put the world to rights, I think, on Border League stuff, and we certainly wish you well. We obviously understand it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to just drop in and everything's going to be rosy. You know, the Borders rugby isn't like that. In fact, we'd be very disappointed if it wasn't, to be perfectly honest with you. Lots of great personalities with lots of different points of view. But we certainly wish you all the best. As we say, it's a very historical appointment, and we'll no doubt bump into you in the coming weeks and see how you're getting on.
Thank you very much, Stuart.